Hey guys, it's Andrew from Seemu Apps here, and today we're going to look at property observers in Swift and how you can use them. So what are property observers? They allow you to essentially watch when variables are being set and allow you to run some extra code, or when variables are being retrieved. So there are 4 property observers, which is set, get, didSet, and willSet. So the first one, get, runs when you retrieve a variable from Swift. So you can run some extra code to do some more calculations or call other functions. The next one, set, runs when you set a variable. The didSet will run before you set a variable. So if you want to run some code that happens before a variable is set, you place it in here. And the willSet is essentially the same as set. It runs when a variable has been set. So it's quite confusing explaining it. So let's jump into the code. I'll show you a practical example so it'll make a bit more sense, and then we can see how we use it in Swift. Catch you guys in Xcode. Alright, so if we're going to go to File, New File to start off with, and we're going to create a new empty Swift file called product. Once you've created that, let's change the code up. So we're going to go import UI kit, and we're going to create a new class called product. This is going to have a variable called tax rate, and that's going to be of the type float and equals 0.10, so 10%. And we'll create another variable called price, also float, and we'll create 2 observers on this. The first one is willSet. And in here we'll do print. We will set the price. It is currently price. Then we'll create a set, didSet. And we'll print out here, price has been set to price. Now we'll create an init in this class. And in here, we'll set the price to be $10 by default. That will get rid of all the errors and complaints Xcode was giving us about not having an initializer. And finally, we'll create one more variable called price with tax, which is the type float. And this is going to have 2 observers, the first of which is get, and it's going to return the price plus the price times tax rate. So it's going to calculate the total price including tax. And finally, if we set it, we're going to print, we set the price with tax. This has no effect though. Alright, so now we've created our product class and observers. I'm going to show you it running, and then I'll explain it in more detail just so you can get a better idea of how it works by actually using it. So we'll create a new variable in our view controller under view didLoad called iPhone 7. That's going to equal a product. And then in the view didLoad, we're going to set the price. So iPhone 7.price equals 700. And then finally we'll print out iPhone 7 dot price with tax to the console, and this will run us through our getters and setters. So let's run the app now and check out the console output. Okay, so the app's running here now. We can see in the console, it says we will set the price. It is currently $10. It says the price is set to $700. And finally, it prints out the tax rate, including the price, which is $770. So essentially what happens is when we set the iPhone 7 price here, in this product, this willSet actually runs before we set the price variable and prints out the current price. So this might be useful for something if you want to save the history of a product's price to a database, for example. So you've got a historical price there. In didSet, in this block of code, this runs once the price has been set. So you could run any extra functionality here. Finally, when we access the price with tax variable, it will run through this get function to get the variable. So instead of returning whatever's stored in here, it's going to return the price plus the price times the tax rate. So since the price is $700, it's going to return $700 plus 70 here, which is $770. Therefore, it's the price of tax. And if we try to set it, it will set this variable, but it will output to the console. We set the price with tax. This has no effect though. So if you had a variable where you're only getting it and not setting it, you might actually throw an error. But in reality, this wouldn't be good practice. If we were only getting it, this would be a function called function get price with tax, for example. But this is just for the example of showing you how you can use observers in Swift and how they actually work. So if I go back here and set iPhone 7 dot price with tax equals 20, and we print that out to the console again, we'll see this effect in action. So we can see in the console here, it says we set the price with tax. This has no effect though when we try to set it to be $20, and the price of tax is still $770. So a quick review, observers in Swift can be set on variables. There are 4 different types: willSet, didSet, get, and set. If you're using willSet, you don't always have to use a didSet. However, you can't use a set in combination with a willSet. You have to use didSet, which is exactly the same as set, but it's just a different way of naming it if you're also using a willSet, so you can understand it a bit easier. And you can download the source code for this app below. And if you enjoyed it, be sure to like this video and also subscribe. Until next time.